Antoinette, good afternoon. The hearing here at Norfolk Superior Court this morning was frankly about some relatively technical legal issues that in almost any other murder case would go of only minor interest. But take a look at this. Once again, accused murderer Karen Reed, she entered the courthouse to cheers from her supporters who believe that Reed is being framed for the murder of Officer John O'Keefe. Now in court, Reed's attorneys continued to try to cast suspicion on the lead police investigator, saying that investigator and his wife are friends with key witnesses in the case. Those defense attorneys want access to phone records that they say will prove that the investigator, Trooper Michael Proctor, is biased.
They've socialized with him, and his family considers their family to be so close and interconnected that they are deemed a second family.
Trooper Proctor has a sister who has a friend, who has a sister, who has a husband, who has a brother, who has a wife, who has a sister, who is Jennifer McCabe.
Now, the two sides also discussed conditions for how to collect DNA samples from the police investigators to see if they might match DNA found at the murder scene. Meanwhile, local prosecutors have been discussing this case with federal prosecutors, and Reed's attorneys want those letters they have exchanged made public. But the judge put off ruling on that issue as well as all of the other motions put forward today. She did say one thing. She insists that this murder trial will happen come this March. Live in Dedham, David Biedick, WCVB News Center 5.
All right, we are going to, well, I'm going to try this again. I for anybody who may join in, is like, I mean, I've seen this before. It is because I had a little internet issues, you know, I was by myself. I figured, hey, you know what? I got a bunch of things going on. Furnace went out, had people in and out all day. You know what? I just cut the live short. You can't even go back and see it. I deleted it off the YouTube. You can't even see it. It even says deleted forever. But now is Trill Crime 2.0. We got, of course, Kelly 2 Trill and Mrs. Dreads is joining us. Thanks for finally making it in here.
Hey, Jody.
Hello.
Nice for you to join us. But yes, as you've seen a little bit, if you're wondering what the heck is this guy talking about, yes, the murder of John O'Keefe, and the one on trial is his girlfriend, Karen. I figure it's got to be a Karen, right? Karen Reed, you know, is standing accused of pretty much running him over. And her defense team says, no, he was beat up. He was murdered, thrown out in the snow by fellow officers. And this is a cover up and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to get to that, though, here just in a sec, because, you know, I wanted to, you know, talk to you guys about, you know, what's going on, what's coming up in Delphi. And the fact we got the Supreme Court hearing in just a few days.
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It is tomorrow, the 18th. Yeah, tomorrow. The Supreme Court hears what's going on with you know, Richard Allen. We got that coming up. Oh, look at that, Lozilla in the house.
He's just stopping in to say hi quick. He's
okay. Well, awesome. He's our first viewer. So yeah, we got the Supreme Court hearing tomorrow. That's going to be quite exciting. You know, as some of you may know from following the Delphi case, his new attorneys that was appointed by Judge Gull is actually right in line with his old attorneys.
Which I'm so thankful for. I'm glad all that work is not for nothing. I'm glad people are actually looking into it and listening to the whole situation, because there's definitely a lot to be heard there. And I have to say, I'm kind of on track with it. As wild and out there as it is, it really
I didn't
plausible.
really expect them to be on board with what they were saying. What do you got anything to say about this, Mrs. Stratz? Well, what do you think? Were you kind of surprised when I told you that his new attorneys? I mean,
because I figured with the ties that they had to the judge,
exactly, right?
Kind of biased.
I mean, one of them is their Facebook, her Facebook friend. So, you know, that kind of shocked me that, you know, these new attorneys are like, yeah, you know, this seems to be, you know, some odious things going on here. They want to review. They want all the, you know, documents from Rozzi and Baldwin, that all this, you know, their investigation, their findings and whatnot. I think both of them were asked, at one time, you know, will you hand them over to the new, you know, attorneys? And yeah, sure, why not? And here we go. I don't know if they did hand them over, and that is what they're basing their thinking on and their defense on. But if they did,
I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. I really can't.
Oh yeah, and I'm really curious to see if Gull gets taken off this case. She obviously did. There was obvious wrongdoing, obvious, or the Supreme Court of Indiana is not going to take just any little case that is what you would call a little slap on the wrist. It's got to be some serious shit.
Yep.
You know, for the Supreme Court to pick it up. So that already is speaking volumes, I think. So tomorrow it's going to be pretty exciting. I have to work, unfortunately, so I'll have to catch everything when I get home. But you guys keep me posted.
Oh, you know, I'll be messaging while I'm
I know. Yeah, you go ahead. I may not get it right away because of, you know, where I work, the you know, cell I don't get good reception in the warehouse. So but is there anything going on? Anything new? Oh, well, I do know. What did they say? What's this? Oh yeah, Ruby Slipper says I've heard Gull's been naughty in other cases too. Yes, yes, she actually has. I think Bobby Tutrill brought up the fact that she let like a child rapist or something out, pretty much with like a slap on the wrist or something of that nature, or just let him walk free, you know, with some you know, time on paper or whatever, you know. She's I don't think she doesn't have a very clean slate. We'll say that from what I've heard. So I think, yeah, you're dead right. No pun intended. But we're gonna talk. Let's just jump into Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. This is a very strange. I mean, not strange as in like Odinister involved strange, but this is a rabbit hole. This is really a rabbit hole. Now, not sure if I should play the little clip that I have first that goes through, which I probably should. That is probably how I should do it. I got a clip that kind of breaks it down, who's who in this case, because you're going to hear a lot of names. You're going to hear McCobb. You're going to hear Adams. Is it Adams? Mike Adams.
There's McCabe. Oh my goodness. Now I'm drawing a blank too. Just play the clip.
Well, just play the clip. Yeah. That'll solve everything. Ruby says, and hello to the other person here. I don't know if that's you or we did have another viewer in there. So I don't know if that's what she's talking about. Well, all right, let's just play the clip because this is a spider web of people. And this is what you know, the people that you're going to be, the names you're going to be seeing, there's police officers involved. And
I know the police officers, Proctor. I don't know why I can't think of the other name that's involved. The other family.
I know.
I'm drawing a blank.
I am too. Both of our heads are mush. It's been a crazy day.
Crazy week in general.
Crazy week. Well, we're going to find out right now. This is obviously from, this is Court TV, Closing Arguments with Vinnie Palitan. or whatever. I better get his name right because I'll soon be on his show.
Okay, so now let's take a look at this visually because he's throwing a lot of names out there and it's a little confusing. So I want to make it a little less confusing. So the
Good
Proctors are the
Albert
trooper. But what is this connection to the Alberts and the McCabe's, et cetera? But who are these people? So this is the house where John O'Keefe was found dead on the lawn, okay? The owners of the house are Brian Albert and Nicole Albert. They are married. Now, Brian Albert has a brother named Chris who's married to Julie. They have a son named Colin. So Colin is an important name in all of this. Chris, Julie, again, brother of Brian Albert. Brian Albert and Nicole, they have children, Caitlin Albert, Brian Albert Jr., and then there's a friend of theirs, Julie Nagel. Then you look at Nicole Albert, her sister, another important name in all this, Jennifer McCabe. Jennifer McCabe, who's married to Matt McCabe. So this is the house. So the night that John O'Keefe got out of the car in front of the house and either went to the party or was murdered or run over by Karen Reed, who was in the house? Take a look. This is what's alleged here. Brian Albert's there. Nicole is there. Chris and Julie are not there, but their son, Colin, is there, which is Brian's nephew. Their kids are there. Brian Albert Jr., Caitlin, and their friend Julie. Also there, very significant, is Jennifer McCabe and Matt McCabe. All of this, trying to understand the names, the relationships, and does it all lead to some conspiracy, bias, framing, planning evidence? Let's bring in our...
Ain't bringing in nobody. You be quiet. All right.
It's funny. I thought I would remember that because every time I hear the name Albert, I think of Albert Fish. So that's instantly when I heard that name, that's what I thought of. So you would think I would remember that, but that's okay. We got it now.
That's kind of funny. That's how you remember it, though.
It's just not a common name, so I guess that's why it just instantly goes to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is all. I don't know what I'm doing here. Hey, real quick before we get in this timeline, Joni says, Kelly, I came across some baby tortoises for sale. I thought of you, and now I want to get some.
Do it. They're definitely worth it. I have 2 babies downstairs right now. We had 5 hatch out a couple months ago, and now we're down to just 1 we're keeping and 1 we kept for my nephew who's deployed. So he'll get that when he comes back. So they're definitely worth having. Give it a try. Just do a lot of research beforehand. Because they do like to break stuff. They broke my pellet stove today. So almost burned my house down. So just keep that in mind too before you buy one.
Wow. That's just crazy. Sorry.
They put a hole in my wall. When they're little, they're really cute. Just keep in mind, depending on what you want to get, I'm not sure what type of babies you got. I know this is off topic or what babies you were looking at. Some stay small. You can keep them inside, no issues at all. Some get really large, like the ones that we have, and
they'll burn your fucking house down.
It's not ideal to have them inside. And right now, unfortunately, our shed is getting cold enough for them, even with the heat in there, too cold for them. So they are inside visitors at the moment. And as you've seen from previous videos, they are destructive. And today they decided to put a hole in the wall and try to move my pellet stove, which almost burned my house down. So that's also why I did not join us.
They were cold.
Yeah. So just
if you ain't gonna turn the heat up, Mom, I'm going to bulldoze the pellet stove over. No, I was looking, but no. Apparently, this case is not over.
Where did my lights go? Thank you. Welcome to my crazy ass house.
Your lights just went off?
No, it's my kid, Carlos. Give me just a second. Carlos, go. Do not turn the lights out on mommy. Go. Carlos,
that's hilarious.
Turn the lights out on me. Sorry.
No, this is funny.
Don't mind the mess in the background. Like I said, I'm ripping up my kid's carpet, so it's a little crazy. I'm in my son's room right now. That's why there's clowns everywhere. But there's one switch at the bottom of the steps, and my daughter's mad because I'm not down there with her. So she's shutting the light out on me.
She's trying to sabotage the show.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you
like,
would just
it's
go
always
down there.
something. I'm waiting for the
No,
cats next.
that's hilarious. These are like 20-ish inches across or more. These hatchlings are a bit bigger than a man's hand. Depends on how big the man is. Andre the Giant, I mean, that's a big baby.
Yeah, if they get 20 plus inches full grown, they probably are sulcatas then, which is the kind that I have.
With the big ones that'll burn your house
Mhm.
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
good luck with that journey.
But she's down south, so it might be easier for her too. So you don't have to
Yeah,
worry quite
true.
as much about the cold.
Yeah, you don't really have ice storms. Don't have that. Yeah. All right. We're gonna go through a little bit of timeline on what is going on here. One night they decide they're gonna all meet out for drinks, or at least O'Keefe and Reed. 7:37. O'Keefe is seen on surveillance at C.F. McCarthy's pub. It's considered a little Irish pub. Reed is seen coming in a little over an hour later, like 8:51. So they didn't even arrive together. After which, I'm not going to go through every single one like I did before, but it does go through. All right, 9:15, Reed gets another glass, drink. 9:20, Reed gets another drink. 9:33, Reed gets another drink. So they're just trying. This is from apparently what the DA has put out and revealed as what the timeline is. Long story short, she is pretty hammered just while sitting at this place. Then they go and meet up with see, I wish I had that screenshot of that timeline so I could
The Alberts.
The
Alberts.
No, it was it Jennifer?
Oh, McCabe.
And maybe
Matt.
And
Jennifer
Matt. Yeah, they were meeting up with them. And, yeah, and then they said, they went and had more drinks. Then they drove about, I think they said it's roughly about 8 miles to the Alberts' house, which Jennifer is the sister-in-law of, is it Brian? Brian, is that his name? Brian? Albert?
Yes.
Yeah, Brian Albert. Okay. Should have had this all written down. I didn't realize it was going to be this hard to remember all these names, but there's a lot of names. There's a lot of people that is, coming up. So Jennifer McCabe and her husband, and of course there's, the nephew of Brian, Colin. All these people are there. So they, Reed and, my head is like mush today. What is going on here? Reed and O'Keefe are leaving. O'Keefe gets a text message saying, or he texts them, where next, or, what's up, or where we going, and this and that. So they all decide to meet back at the Alberts' house and have themselves, continue the party. So as they get there, I think it's Jennifer McCabe is it McCabe? McCabe, not McCabe.
McCabe, yeah.
Yeah, McCabe. I think she's the one that's texting O'Keefe. And he's like, hello, you can take and, park behind my car in the driveway, which I guess she does. And then all of a sudden, they look out the window and what appeared to be her black SUV was sitting over by a fire hydrant, almost a little bit to the left of the house if you're looking at the house. And then there's a flagpole there, which you probably wonder, why the hell, would that even matter? Well, it kind of does. They don't see O'Keefe get out of the vehicle. I don't believe. I think the next time they looked out, they saw the SUV driving away. Now, did I miss anything here, Kelly? Is there anything you want to add to any of that? Because I'm just going through a rough, and then we'll get into the theories and the evidence that they have. Because I was back and forth, and I still go back and forth on this. So there's no, that's where everything gets weird, because what the hell is that? I keep wanting to say Alberts.
Just think of Albert Fish.
Albert Fish. Okay. The Alberts and the McCabe's, they say, no, we never seen him. He never stepped foot in the house. Didn't know what was going on. Well, she goes back to, was it his house?
Yeah, she goes
back
to
his house, and then I guess she falls asleep. She gets up around 5:30, 6ish or whatever, and claimed is worried, is sending texts, if he talks to, or has her niece at one point make a phone call, I think, over there to Jennifer or one of them over there. Have you seen John? Blah 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 blah. And she decides she's going to go look for him. You see her backing out from the ring camera. You see her backing out. She taps. It looked like a light tap.
Yeah.
And the more that I look at him, when you watch the full video of her pulling, down the driveway, both sides look the same. They kind of have brake lights that come down and like that, almost, like an L. They both look the same to me. I didn't see any glass. It was a very light tap. As I've seen in some interviews, it looked like a bumper to bumper type deal. Nothing. At the
house, if she would have hit him and it broke her tail light, you would have seen that in the camera anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah, right. See, I tell you, man, this is like a case for the devil's advocate. I mean,
Does
because
Jody have a mic?
Oh, whoops! I had her muted.
Sorry, I was like, I can't hear Jody. Whatever she's saying.
I had her muted. I told you my head's mush.
Welcome, Jody.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Jody. Do you want to repeat what you said again? Huh?
No, but I will.
Okay.
Pay attention.
Don't make me mute you again.
About if she would have
hit him
when she hit his car, and they said it wasn't hard enough, but if she would have hit him at the house,
and like what the prosecution
and it says that it broke
said,
her tail light, you
right.
would see that in the camera, wouldn't you? That her tail light was
broken. You probably
regardless.
should. Yeah.
And I couldn't tell when I looked at that. I was like, I can't tell if they look the same or not. It's so like ring camera footage is just not very good. We have ring cameras at our house, and I feel like it's so difficult to see. But at the same time, it's kind of odd because like on my ring camera, I can actually zoom in. So like even after a video is there, so I'm surprised that they haven't done that to compare the tail lights better. But it is really hard to see. Like you were saying, it looks the same, but I feel like it's far enough away that I can't tell if it was broken or not, honestly. I don't think it got broke when she backed into the vehicle, though, like you guys were saying. I think that was too light of a tap to have broken a tail light.
Yeah, and it did. It looked like bumper to bumper, and it didn't even look like it actually hit.
Because who's to say that she didn't do it? Well, who's to say? Okay, let's say she did do it.
Okay.
Because then she would know. She's going to know regardless of how drunk you are. You're going to know if you ran somebody over.
Yeah.
And that she went home. She did. She may have went to bed, whatever. Woke up, and then she intentionally backed into it. So when they're like, well, your tail light's broken, she'd be like, well, I hit his car.
Yeah. I could see that.
She's using that as an excuse.
That's a good point, Jody. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
I have a hard time with her story in general. I kind of went back and forth there for a little bit because the defense is really good with with kind of tying in Proctor, the investigator, to the rest of the family. And I was like, yeah, those ties, even if they're a little bit distant, there's Facebook posts showing they've been at weddings together, that they talk to each other often enough that that man probably shouldn't have been on the case. I agree with that, but I personally feel like her story changes quite a bit. She's way too open to talk, and I think it's gonna kind of bite her later on. And I could be wrong, but her story slightly changes. And I guess my opinion of it, which I've watched some of the court TV documents, and some of the stuff you've said I actually haven't seen. So I guess we've watched different videos. But somebody else mentioned, I think that might have been on one of the court TV documents, was that she felt like it should be a manslaughter charge, that she believes that Karen did hit him. But that it's kind of an extreme charge because it's a police officer. And that's kind of how I'm feeling. I think she hit him. I think she panicked. I think she was trashed. I don't think she intentionally hit him. I don't think
because
it's a
don't they
though.
need it to be like premeditated for it to be manslaughter?
I don't think so. I think
No.
for manslaughter, I think it can be accidental, being
Okay,
trashed, you know,
okay, yeah,
it's
I
just,
couldn't remember,
yeah. Now,
which one.
if it was premeditated, it would make sense for murder, but, I don't think even if they were arguing, that could have also led to her accidentally hitting him because you're not paying attention because you're pissed off. She's saying she watched him walk to the door. Nobody
Yeah.
else saw him walk to the door, and I get that it could be a lie, they could be covering, but and I know there's a lot of other things being brought up. They got rid of their family dog. There's scratches on his arm, that could look like dog scratches or dog bites. But then I also saw that they did do testing on those bites, and they're saying there's no animal DNA on there at all.
Right.
So that would have DNA. So yes, it's odd they got rid of their dog. It's odd they sold
And
their house.
well,
But
what I heard about the dog, getting rid of the dog, is that it got into a fight with another dog in the neighborhood, and the
yes.
neighbor of the other dog tried to break it up and got bit. So they
Mhm.
decided to rehome the dog to keep everything, on an even keel and not piss anybody off. So they rehomed the dog. So that kind of explains that. And then people were saying, about, them selling their house. They were there months after, this happened. This could have been something that was already in the process before any of this happened. I don't know personally if that was the case. They had, a water leak, maybe a water heater busted, or, they had some flooding in their basement. People say, well, why'd they change the flooring? Well, that is apparently the reason. They were changing the flooring, and the house was on the market. So that explains changing the flooring. Was there evidence on there? I guess we'll never fucking know.
Yeah. And honestly,
and it does all seem kind of suspicious. If you had nothing to do with it and someone was supposed to show up to your house that never showed up, and now you have EMS and everybody else outside of your house, investigating why there's a dead cop in your front yard, and you don't even step foot out of the house.
That is odd.
The cops don't go to the door of the people living there saying, hey, did you see anything? Do you know anything? Do you know this man? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's why I say, man, because in my heart of hearts, I believe she's guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that it's a dog bite. It just doesn't look like a dog bite. It looks very asymmetrical. It's not uniform like you would see in a claw, or and German Shepherds have big canines.
Mm-hmm.
You would see puncture marks if this was a bite. These look like slashes and tears. These don't really, to me anyway, and who am I? It's just my opinion. Don't seem to me like that's a dog.
And I agree. I mean, I've worked with dogs for years. I've owned a ton of dogs. I'm a certified dog trainer. I used to have my own business. I also have worked at shelters. I've trained and dealt with a ton of different species of dogs. My mom has a German Shepherd. My brother has a German Shepherd. So I feel like I've interacted with dogs enough. I've also personally been bit by dogs. So I just feel like I've seen enough dog bites and instances with things like that that it just doesn't look that way to me. And of course, I'm not a detective, but it doesn't look like a dog bite to me either. And again, with the sale of the house, I mean, you had somebody die on your front lawn. This caused a lot of publicity. Would you want to leave? You have your own career and your own life that you have to worry about with children. So if it's causing that big of a shit show on your front lawn, you might want to sell your house. You know, you're probably going to have suspicion from your neighbors. You're going to have issues with your neighbors. You're going to have, especially if your dog went after another dog after all that as well. You know, at this point, I don't think it's all that suspicious that they moved. I think that's being made into more than what it is. And it's unfortunate, but the cheering of her going in the courtroom drives me crazy. I feel like it's ridiculous. Like, regardless of how you feel about the situation, the booing of the opposite side to me seems so immature and sad. Like that guy Turtle Boy. Not that I'm trying to shit on someone's channel on here, and I love turtles, but one,
we
you're a grown
know.
man. It's kind of a weird name. But two, it's so immature. There's so many families affected by this. Their careers are affected by this. And she's not famous. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It's so inappropriate for the scenery. And I think had it been a male involved or a less attractive female, it would not be like this. And I hate to say that, but you see that in so many cases, along with Jodi Arias and oh fuck, why can't I think of her name? The other one that I can't stand that we talk about all the time that killed her daughter. Shit, can I think of her name?
Casey Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, you see a semi-younger, attractive female, and then you gain all this publicity. Like, and I just feel like that honestly has a lot to do with it. I really do. I think that is part of the following. I don't think it's a huge conspiracy, and I don't necessarily think she did it intentionally. I just think they were trashed. They got into an argument. She left instead of going in the house. She was probably pissed he was going in the house because she didn't feel like going in. She didn't see him walk to the door. Like, she maybe thought he walked to the door and then went to drive off and he was still behind the car. And then she was like, oh, fuck, I just hit him. What am I going to do? You know, he's a cop. How do I handle this? And she just took off and then took the time to try to figure out what she was going to do. Maybe contacted a lawyer and said, what do I say? Because when she went back to the scene, she knew exactly where the body was. That's odd.
And the weather, I think, along with your point, sorry to cut you off, but along with your point, I was watching, they were showing little newscasts and weather reports and shit. And this was almost a record-breaking snowfall. They had like 28 inches in 24 hours. These were whiteout conditions. There were people on there that they were interviewing, just neighbors talking about the weather and the snow. One guy said you could barely see 5 feet in front of your face. It was blowing so hard, the snow drifts. So now I guess if you live in that kind of, in that state where this is common, like if you were in, New York State or something, where we were, it's common for them to get 18 inches of snow and go to school. Because they're prepared. This is something they deal with every year. So, maybe
doesn't give you X-ray vision though. Like
exactly right. You can't see through a whiteout condition. Jodi, I wanted to ask you your opinion real quick on what Kelly was saying as far as being you're the other female in the room, being as far as you go along with the, they're just making this a big deal because who the fuck is
they sensationalize her?
Yeah, because of her being because when I first started looking at this, it was like everybody's cheering outside, they're applauding when she walks in the court, and it's like, wait a minute, am I missing something? Is this like a Hollywood court case? Who is this? Oh, she's a professor.
It made me think of fucking Ted Bundy, like with all of his like fans,
groupies,
and
fans,
thought he was hot shit. That's what I thought of when I saw that. I was like, is this like the next fucking Ted Bundy, but like female? Not that she's out killing everybody that we know of, but yeah, that's what I thought of. I was like, this is like, it looks like a fucking movie. Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, it's nuts. Another piece of evidence that they have is, approximately, was it like 2:27 or something in the morning, there's this Google search that has How spelled incorrectly. If you look, they hit the H. It was H-O-S, not H. It was H-O-S instead of H-O-W, How. And they're right next to the keyboard, in your keyboard. So that's a, reasonable mistake. But it was how long for, a body to die in the cold? Or I'm paraphrasing, something along those lines, which is okay. And this came from Jennifer McCabe.
Yeah.
McCabe.
They were saying that was strange because the body wasn't found until like 5:30, 6 o'clock, which I get. I understand that. And that's honestly the piece of evidence that had me like second guessing, like, holy shit, maybe there is something going on. Maybe they are onto something. But then I don't know if you saw the other video, but they actually had someone, I honestly couldn't tell you what video it was I watched, but they had an expert that deals with a lot of like tech. And the guy was saying that in forensics, when they go through the tech, they are trying to get more advanced data on it, because what happens is, like, say on your phone, you pull up and you Google something,
Right.
but you don't close out the window. And then you go back later and you Google from the same screen. So it actually plugs in at the initial time that you Googled until you close out that window. And then if you close out that window and you go back in, then it will have a new time. So they said that it's a huge possibility that she opened up her phone and was Googling, when she shit-faced, hey, like, I'm looking at basketball, or hey, like, how do I make spaghetti? Whatever the fuck she wants to Google at 2:30 in the morning, she shit-faced. People do stuff like that. And so they were saying that she could have done that, and then
just went back to the same page, and that timestamp was from when she was Googling whatever, how to make fucking spaghetti.
Yeah, whatever. But
right.
they were
I did hear that in one of, may have been the same video. I did hear that.
I was unaware of that. I didn't realize, and that kind of makes me want to close out my windows all the time. Like someone's going to frame me for something later on.
Right. Ruby says, how did he die? From the hot or the cold?
I don't think that I haven't heard anything about the actual autopsy results yet. Have you? I haven't seen anything on that whatsoever. Whether or not it was the temperatures or if it was like blunt force trauma, because if he was hit by a car, you would think there would be some type of blunt force trauma from the vehicle hitting him, but I haven't heard the official cause of death at all.
Well, what I have, let me, it might even be on this particular site that I'm on.
And Jody, if I'm cutting you off, please yell at me because I can't see you. I used to do the same thing to Bobby because I couldn't see him. So if I cut you off at all, just yell at me.
Well, she walked out of the room at the moment, so you ain't cutting anybody off. Here we go. On January 31st, 2022, an autopsy is conducted by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. The doctor opined that the extensive injuries to his head likely rendered Mr. O'Keefe incapacitated. The doctor further said that upon viewing Mr. O'Keefe's injuries and her examination of the body, she observed no signs of Mr. O'Keefe being involved in any type of physical altercation or fight.
Okay.
So, I mean, when I heard 2 black eyes, several skull fractures, mainly in the back or the base of the, the skull, and then they said that there was hypothermia, and I do believe that they think that being the head injury rendered him, he was just done pretty much at that point. He wasn't moving, and he ended up staying there. And it was initially hypothermia. They said that his stomach and his pancreas was all fucked up. I don't know if they said it, both of them were ruptured or busted or something. There were
that would make sense for getting hit too, like with
for getting
car.
run over.
Yeah.
Which if you're getting run over, because they said if he was hit by a car, all of his injuries are from the waist up. And if you're standing up and getting hit by a car, first thing that's going to get hit is your legs. And there was no significant injuries to his legs whatsoever. Everything was up here. His arm, if you look at some of the pictures of the cuts on his arm, you can also see massive amounts of bruising. Now, I don't know if that is bruising or if that's just discoloration from hypothermia. Again, but the rest of his arm didn't look like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming bruising. My theory is maybe he was backed into, but he was maybe bent down. Did she see him? Was it an accident? I don't know. But floored it.
Maybe you went to throw up or something. You know, you're shit faced,
Right.
you're not thinking straight. You know, or he tripped, he goes to fall. You know, anything, and maybe that's
It's very slippery. Yeah, he could have fell. She backs up and maybe runs over his mid-half, which ruptured his stomach and his pancreas.
Mm-hmm.
As he's getting run over, his arm goes up and it gets cut and gouged and whatever from something underneath the car.
They said they also found, because apparently he had one of. Can you hear them? I apologize if you
No,
my kids cry. Okay. So apparently he had like a cocktail glass that supposedly
he was seen on video with it leaving one of the places. Yeah.
And they found pieces of that embedded in the bumper. I heard in one of the videos as well. So that would make sense for getting hit too. I know they're saying that the defense is saying that was placed there, that it is a conspiracy, and they left the broken tail light there, and they left, you know, the pieces of this in the bumper. I think that's just an extensive amount of stuff to go through, and to have so many different departments involved. I mean, you have
What if she,
medical
in fact, I mean, if there was pieces from her light, what if she put it? I don't know. Would it make sense? Why would she put it there?
Yeah.
What am I thinking? What kind of alternate universe am I in?
And that's what I'm thinking. Like, no one. So if her story is she backed into his vehicle at O'Keefe's house, then the light pieces should be there. The police officers aren't going to go from the fucking crime scene all the way back to O'Keefe's house, pick up these pieces, and then leave them at the crime scene after the fact. You know, that's just a lot of shit to go through. And I'm not saying conspiracies can't happen, because look at Delphi. I think there is a lot of twisted shit in that town going on. I think there is some covering up going on, and some, I don't want to deal with it, let's look the other way. In the Gacy case, there was a lot of that. Let's look the other way. We don't want any more bodies. Fuck this. I get it happens, but I think this situation is truly like, I think she hit him by accident, even intentional or not. I truly don't think it was, but I think in the end, she accidentally hit him, and we're looking for a way out, you know, because she has changed her story a couple times. I mean, really, if you're shit-faced and you're sitting in your car, because we've all been there before, we've all been shit-faced, okay? We've all had a night of drinking. I don't remember every detail of everything I've done. And her story was she watched him walk to the door, waited for him to come back. He opens the door and goes in, never comes back. She sits there for exactly 10 minutes and looks at her phone. You know, it's like just the detail that she had for accounting for what happened in those few minutes where she was sitting outside before she decided to go back to his house just seems too detailed to have remembered too. And that could be her attorneys telling her, hey, say this because this is what's going to save your ass. But I just think it's more fabricated than it needs to be. I think it's probably manslaughter. I think they went a little extreme with this murder versus manslaughter, and I think they're just trying to find some sort of way out and creating doubt with the relationships with Proctor and this family. But I don't think that all these departments are conspiring against one woman. What did they have to gain from that? And
I don't believe that either. No, that's her scapegoat. That's her, that's her hopefully get out of jail free card. Joni asks, so if she did it, what should her charges be?
I honestly, unless they can prove that she decided to do it ahead of time, which would be premeditated murder, okay, then first degree, I get it, but I don't think they have any way of proving that. There's no phone record saying she talked about wanting to kill him. They were out partying together. I get being pissed off. it didn't seem like they had a lot of issues. I really think that it was accidental. I think it should be manslaughter. Personally,
Yeah.
I think they were drunk. He got out of the car. She thought he walked up to the door. She wasn't paying attention and she was pissed and didn't want to stay at this party. We've all been there. And then she went to back up and then she was like, "Oh shit, I just ran something over. I'm scared to see if it was him," and took off. That's honestly like that's how I feel. Or yeah, I can't imagine. Or maybe she thought she hit something else. Maybe she thought I hit the fire hydrant or I hit, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
she didn't get out and look. Maybe she just kept going thinking, "Oh shit, I might have ran someone's dog over. Maybe I hit another car." And then
Yeah,
she just took off.
Yeah, that she knew she had hit something.
Yeah,
Just
I
didn't know
definitely
what
feel
she
like
had
she
hit.
knew.
Right. Yeah, that's been
And
speculated.
then when she found him the next day and she's like, "Did I hit him? Could I have hit him?"
Yeah.
And stuff.
And
Then
she did say that. Yeah, she did
Yeah.
question that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And with the glass embedded in the bumper, one theory that, one scenario I should say that went through my head was they were said to be arguing earlier that night. And, like you said, a lot of liquor shortens that fuse a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe he gets out of the car, she starts to pull away, they're arguing, he throws the glass and hits the bumper. She gets pissed off because he threw something and she fucking throws it in reverse and fucking, to go back to say, what the fuck or whatever.
Thinks he's gonna move.
and hits him.
Yeah.
And maybe he's trying to back up. He slips, he falls, he hits the fire hydrant. That causes the skull fractures. She runs all the way back and maybe taps and maybe hits that fire hydrant too, but he falls and goes kind of under the car a little bit. But he's slipping as he falls back and she comes back and maybe he, somehow, I think they said like severe bleeding of the brain, like they said that he can cause a swelling of the eyes, the raccoon eyes. Doesn't necessarily mean he got punched in the face.
Yeah.
It could have all been caused from that. So that was a scenario that went through my head because that's where they found him. Otherwise, if he was hit and ran over anywhere else, how did the body get there? I don't think they found any like drag marks either from the house or anything. So where they found him is where he was hit. And when they found him, it was odd that she was the only one in the car when her and the two or three other girls in the car with her went to look for him. They ended up back there and she pointed him out. He had 6 inches of snow on top of him. Yeah. Nobody else in the car saw what she saw, and she took him right to him.
Yep, and I think she ran over and she said, "Can you look up?" Like the girl said, "Can you look up how long it takes for someone to die in this? Maybe he's still alive. Maybe we can get him help." That could have been it. And then Jennifer McCabe says, "How long does it take for a person to die? Is it possible he's still alive?" And that scream was up from looking up fucking spaghetti at 2:30 in the morning. It makes sense.
And we're going back to that browser.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've done it a billion times.
Because I'm sorry, I don't know if anybody in the car contacted anybody in the house and told them what was going on, and maybe that sparked. Because they said, a theory is, well, maybe Jennifer McCabe didn't do it on her own. That there's people saying them, evidence, people, witnesses or whatever, saying that she was told to look this up. So going along with kind of, what you said, maybe somebody outside got a hold and text them and said, "Hey, look up how long does it take for somebody to die in the snow or die in this cold weather, blah, blah, blah." And then they called 911, because they apparently they were trying to give them CPR.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Karen was trying to give him CPR. And maybe one of the other girls, I don't know why they wouldn't do it themselves, but maybe they just let them know what was going on inside the house. And that sparked one of them to look it up.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with the fact that the relationship between the lead detective Proctor and Jennifer McCabe and the other people involved in the case is inappropriate. I agree. They probably should have had somebody else handle the case, but at the same time, when you get the phone call and you're in that district, you just go. You know, I don't think you know what you're expecting. So after the fact and knowing that there were ties there, yes, they probably should have had someone else come out. But you get there, you take care of the scene, you do what you got to do, and then you could hand that over to someone else, but at the same time, he's still gonna be the lead person on the scene first because that's his area, that's his district, that just makes
Right.
sense. Now, Jennifer McCabe going to his house later, yes, it's inappropriate. They shouldn't be hanging out in their living room, chatting and having dinner together when there's
And
an
it's
ongoing
I think
investigation.
it's speculated that they were literally talking about that case,
Oh, I'm sure they were.
about
I'm sure.
him passing away, and
Mhm,
it was there was no paperwork done. They said it was like borderline police official business,
mhm.
and this little meeting, and Jennifer McCabe isn't a cop.
Yeah, no doubt that that was inappropriate. I completely agree. It was inappropriate. She shouldn't have been there. He should have said, "No, we can't have this conversation." But he knows the family. Like they said, they consider him a second family. No matter how distant that is, those ties, she probably thought, "Hey, no one's going to know I stopped by. No fucking neighbor's going to take a picture of my car." She probably thought, "Let me just go talk to him. I'm fucking scared. I'm going to get blamed for this. What should I do?" I could totally see someone being like, "Hey, call your buddy. I know you know Proctor, please just ask him if I can talk to him, just say if I'm saying the right things. I'm so scared I'm gonna get caught up in something I shouldn't be caught up in." I could see that. It was inappropriate, yes, but I could see how that meeting happened. And
Yeah.
bottom line, it was inappropriate, but I don't think it was a conspiracy. I think it was, holy fuck, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be involved in this. Like, I don't know what
No,
happened, but I
exactly.
don't want to be involved in it. So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she, whether it was an accident or not, you killed a person.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, and that's just the bottom line. If you didn't mean to, maybe you just meant to. I think Ruby had mentioned, it's if you're in a bad relationship, I can't remember if it was Ruby or Joni that said it, but I mean, maybe she just meant to bang him a little bit, and
Or
it went
scaring.
too far, not kill him. I mean, who knows, man? I mean, she's still probably pretty damn hammered, I mean, so
Apparently, there was text messages the next morning where she was telling people she was still drunk, like, she still felt drunk, which
mhm.
we've all been there before.
Oh
Like you
yeah.
said, I mean, we've all been there. Like, the chances of you still being a little shit-faced when you were still out at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, being shit-faced
Wake
at
up
5.
groggy, yeah,
Yeah, I
at
mean,
6 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
yeah, I don't have any doubts about that either, and like you said, I don't know that it was intentional, and if it was, it was. If it wasn't, I still think she bottom line, I think she ran him over, and I think the evidence is gonna show that in the end. I think the defense is doing a kick-ass job of putting doubt out there. I think they're working their asses off for their client, but I think her cheer squad is completely out of line, and I think it's bullshit, and I think in the end, it's all gonna show up to be, that she ran him over. I
Yeah,
think that's the
yeah,
bottom line.
I tend to agree. I guess you're on the same page,
Mhm.
Jody. Yeah, I mean, there's there is a lot of this. People will, and I know because I was one of them people. You hear, police corruption and this and that, and then there's people out there just hate the police, and that's why and they're just the evil organization. And I understand there's bad apples out there. I've covered plenty of police brutality cases in my time doing shows, and I don't see this as one of them. I think she was smart enough to know that if she can pull this off and make this her defense, she's going to have a lot of support. And we all know by looking at the Delphi case, public opinion can sway a case.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, that's really her wish and a prayer right there. Because there is that doubt. You're right. The defense is doing a great job,
Mhm.
instituting, that little bit of doubt. And that's all you need. As we said with, Delphi, you only need one of those jurors to have a, you know, say, I don't know. And, you know, it's done. And you know, I believe that they are. They're putting that reasonable doubt out there because it does have me. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, she's guilty, but damn, what about this?
Yeah. Like that Google search, that was the thing that was doing it for me. Like
Them
until I
not
heard,
coming out of the house to see a
yeah,
fellow officer down in their front yard.
yep.
I mean, and you don't even make an appearance.
But
I'm pretty
again, like
sure the
the
officers on
publicity
the
side.
scene, right? And I'm sure that the officers on the scene knew who this guy was. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird case in that, you know, it could really go either way, and which is sad because all fingers really point to her. And I'm sorry, but she just has that look like she would be vindictive like that. I don't know what it is. She just looks like that. I'm not trying to judge a book by its cover, but the cover on her book doesn't look too good.
She's glowing over the attention. And if your
Loves it.
boyfriend was just killed and you're actually concerned about what happened, I feel like you would show more emotion. And instead, I think she's just soaking up all this attention. Like, oh, everyone's cheering me on. Oh, everybody thinks I'm hot shit. I'm going to get off of this because of that. That is honestly, I feel like the way she presents herself moving in and out of that courtroom. And hey, looks aren't everything. In the end, I think the evidence is going to present itself. And I think they're going to say, it shows that he got fucking ran over by a car and you're admitting you backed out of there. Like, I think that's what it's gonna come down to.
Yeah, I mean, when she walks into the courtroom and the courtroom just erupts in applause, you can see her. She's smiling, she's soaking it in. Then all of a sudden, she's like trying to be all serious now when she gets up to the table to sit down. It's like, come on, man. You know, this is her 15 minutes of fame, I guess.
It reminds me of Ted Bundy, literally, like, over there waving to his fans and smiling and joking, and, like, she's obviously got that big personality, and that's cool, but, it shouldn't get her off for what happened. I think accidental or not, like you said, I think she still killed somebody, and narcissistic, yep, I agree with that.
I agree. No, that's the perfect way to put it, Ruby. Yeah. Narcissistic. She has that vibe about her. She's eating it up, not realizing maybe not realizing, you know, the extent of what's going on, man, how serious this is. Because it's not going to go away. And you know, then there's going to be an uproar. Oh, police corruption. No. Chick hit her boyfriend, whether she meant to or not, whether it was an accident or not.
That uproar should be happening in Delphi because they really think there's police corruption. Go wave that flag in Delphi.
Oh yeah, man.
You guys, I think here in this case is not. I think they're making it out to be something else.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. If you're watching this on the replay, you as well. Let us know what you think about this case. If you haven't heard of it, I mean, it's been all over Core TV, and this has been going on for, you know, year or so. But let us know what you think. It was always a pleasure chatting some Trill Crime. You need to be quiet over there, Jody. You've been Little Miss Motormouth over there.
I know. Bring it in. I was just happy to have her here. I feel like I've missed her the last couple times again. So
yeah, you need to keep it down over there. But you know, it's fun getting together, talking some Trill Crime. We are going to be changing the time on this show. I like to, you know, keep it Monday because I got a couple other shows that I do on Wednesday, so I feel like I'm never out of this chair. But yeah, we keep Monday, but it's gonna be in the evening. We're gonna put together a you know, figure out what time in the evening, and but we do have Tina and Tina Wilson and Todd. I swear that I really hope that's her husband's name. I'm pretty sure it is. But Tina and her husband and Shelly all close friends, dear friends of Cheryl Coker, who it's a local case around here, who was murdered, and it's been going on for like 5 years now, and only have one suspect, and that's her ex, Bill Coker. He cashed my daughter out at Costco. I was like as far away from him as a screen on my monitor right now.
That's still so crazy to me. I was so
dude,
I'm like, look at this asshole.
I know this dude is such a creepy vibe, but we're gonna be getting into that. Probably I'd like to talk some Idaho 4 coming up in the future. That's moving along, and well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
Thank you guys. It's been fun. It's been Trill. Bobby, I don't know about you, boy. No, he's dealing with his own thing. So you guys stay warm. It's fucking cold out there. I'm about to set myself on fire. You guys have a good night.